Check mic.
Oh my god, those levels are marvelous. Did everybody hit the like button? Oh my god, it's the intro like button yelling. I'm yelling at you over the music to hit the like button. Oh my god. Like button. Activate. Activate the like button. Whip out the like button and slap it right across the face. Oh! Burp. I think this is the end of the song. This is the big part. What else was it? Do we just have to wait till the end of the song? I think we have to wait till the end of the song. I don't know. Is everyone ready for the button pushing? Window for the button pushing. This is a big build-up. A big build-up. Oh no, it's not the end. It goes on forever. This song goes on forever, guys. Mic button check. Hot mic button check. Oh my god, it doesn't matter.
My ring closed. Well, they're in the closet.
Yeah. My platform boots.
Oh, I
My platform boots and my all black attire. Plus fluorescent attire.
Oh, I was about to say, that's like, I don't know, all black attire.
Day-glow adornments on top of my robes.
Granted, today I've got flowers.
Flowers. Flowers on the top of the black. Can we just get to the
Day-glow
end of
flowers.
the song? How do we get to the end of the song? I don't even know how. Oh, I didn't even do the show will begin soon. Here we go. The show will begin soon. Oh my god. We have to turn it. Now it's refresh. Turn it off. Turn it back on again. Then we turn it off and push the button. Push the button. When does the beginning of the show start? Reckon that I know. Let's just push the button. What's up, everybody? It's Monday. It's Monday, you freaks. It's Monday, you freaky weirdos. What's going on? It's good to be back. It's good to be back after another thrilling weekend. Another thrilling, just abject excitement. Just wild, just so much fun. Boy, what a weekend. Boy, what a weekend, boys and girls, ladies and gents. Everybody in the club was getting tipsy, but not me. Not I. I was driving on the freeways and Googling addresses and driving around and looking at things and kicking buildings and wondering if they were going to fall over or not. Like, hey, was this constructed out of balsa woods? How? We don't even have balsa wood here. You imported it to be cheap? Yeah. Thrilling weekend. We looked at a bunch of properties. We're at a bunch of that's nonsense. No one really cares. We were about to, we just spent, the only reason I bring it up, I've been on the phone for the last, I was going to say 2 hours. That is incorrect. 3 hours in Zoom meetings with financiers, county assessors' offices, school board people, whoever school representative people are. I don't know who they are. I don't know who they are. It's just like, you've reached the office of Bob. And you're like, hey, man, can my kid go to your school or what, dude? And they're like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, here's the address. Look it up, jerk. You know. And they're like, no, they can't go here. They're not allowed. And you're like, okay, well, great. Because I can tell you guys over the weekend, Victoria, myself, and this one right here, this weird one, we found a house that we all agree was dope. It was the cat's PJs, as they say, back in 1912. They were like, yeah, see, she's the cat's PJs. She's the bee's knees. Yeah. They used to say that back then because they're old-timey. They're old-timey idiots, and they didn't know that they were old-timey. But needless to say, we know that now. We have that information. We are aware. But we found a property. It turns out there is... What are you doing?
It bit me.
What?
This plug right here.
What do you mean?
It's there's loose voltage.
It zapped you?
Yep.
How's that possible?
I don't know. The cord is fine, but this plug is not.
Huh. Well, we're going to bring on Alyssa in just a second here. She got shocked, apparently, in the background. She's being electrocuted as we speak. We'll bring her on when she's fully well done, brisket style. Just smoked, electrocuted.
Just slow turn
right
me on this on the spit.
Yeah. Okay, I'll just bring you in. I'll just bring you in and continue to tell the story.
Okay.
There we go. I was going to give you an introduction and everything, but welcome to the show, Alyssa Bentley. Do we know how to say her name properly? No, we refuse. Who's Alyssa? Do you ask? Who is Alyssa? Oh my God, we have all this crap up on the screen here. We have all this crap. We haven't met this goal. We never met this goal that was on here. So our oh my God, we got a super chat, guys. We got a super chat. We're gonna put it on the goal here. $5 American from yours from the Fish Tank Barn. Today is the last day of January. We're trying to get. The thing on here says $1,257. That's not true. We got to put a couple more numbers on here. There we go. That's our funding goal for today. 12,530. No, 125,000. We're going big today, guys. We're going big. That's our goal. Our goal is to hit that number. Oh my God, it doesn't fit in the box. Why doesn't the box enlarge? Box and gorge become larger. It don't work. The box sucks. Oh my God, what's wrong with this box? I even hit Alt. Let me see. Does it fit now? There we go. Now it fits. We took the $sign out. We'll update it as time goes on here. It may extend. We may enrage this this box even further. We'll see. But we got to update our patron number. We haven't updated it in a long, long time, and it gives you a good idea. It's gone down in a long, long time. It's gone down. Our memberships on YouTube memberships are down also since you've been here last, Alyssa. So what are we doing? We got to bring you back because we're going to try to go up. We want to go up in those numbers.
We need to stop catching sickness.
We want to enrage these numbers. That's what we want them to do. We want them to get enraged.
We want them
to get fully engorged.
To get just fully hulked out.
We want them to get hulked out. But last week you and I talked about our favorite musician, Glen Danzig's. It turns out a lot of Glen Danzig fans in my audience that I was unaware of because they got pissed.
Amazing.
They straight up left.
The one thing that I can
Patreon, say, they left Patreon. They got mad. We had 4 members leave from YouTube that got mad.
It's amazing.
It's amazing. I didn't realize how deep the fandom for the Danzigs goes, but dude, they're pissed. They're probably never coming back.
Well, I mentioned that even though it's clear to me that if he's talking about Am I Demon or whatever, obviously,
right?
It's a silly music,
right? It's silly music.
But people take it so seriously, and people get mad when you don't take it seriously, and I'm like, how am I supposed to take that seriously?
Right. It's because
it's good music and I love it.
I think it has to do with the interpretation of art, right? There's like this point where people just decided that your interpretation of art is it's the answer, period, right? Like I see your art piece that you made with a description of what the art piece is about. But I shall just totally ignore that. My interpretation is what matters, you know. Yeah. And I think it has to do with the boomer generation, realistically. Just a self-entitlement. That's right. The same as Glen Danzig, the boomer, because he's 65, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he is. Yeah. He's getting up there.
Boomer Danzig.
I got to say.
Boomer Danzig trying to take us down, and I'm not going to let it happen.
The one thing that I can say about him is that he is still alive.
He is still alive. You and I were talking about it before the show. We both received some terrible news.
Yeah.
A longtime friend of mine died at the young age of 40 years old last night. I just got that like 20 minutes before the show. Yeah.
And a kid that I used to babysit for back before, like right before I was old enough to get a real job.
That's it. Yeah. That's creepy too.
I know.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, I found out that he at the ripe old age of 28, passed away due to addiction issues, apparently.
Right.
So
welcome to the year 2022, guys. It's getting rough out there.
People are just,
and I feel like other fish tubers are able to use tragedy to their advantage.
I don't want to use this to my advantage.
Right.
I just want to put it out there and be like, you know what? Things are sad sometimes.
Sometimes things are sad. Yep,
Yeah.
that's true. But Alyssa and I want to start a full-on movie production company, so we're going to need to hit this number right here, 125,732. That's our goal today.
Okay.
We're going to eradicate death. That's what we're going to do. We're going to eliminate it. We're going to get rid of it.
Are we going to upload everybody's consciousness into the cloud, or what are we doing?
We're just getting that out. We're just getting it right out of here. Just get out of here, bud. Get out of here, death. We're done.
Yep.
Donezo. We're going to make The Matrix. That's basically what we're going to do. We're going to remake The Matrix with lollipop stop animation. That's how we're going to do it. It's going to solve all the world's problems. I know it. You know it. We all know it. Yeah, bummer news. We don't know how to process it. We're in denial right now. I think realistically we're in the first stage, and it doesn't really hurt yet.
Yeah.
It's just shock. Or we're in shock. That's what it is.
Yeah.
The first one's shock, right? Then denial, then bargaining. What's the 7 stages? The 7 stages of grievers, right? I think we've reviewed this before. Oh no, 5 stages. I thought there were 7. Well, I'm an idiot.
I don't know.
Maybe I threw
an
extra 2 on there. I might have thrown an extra 2 on there for me, just for the sake.
Right.
Oh my God, the most difficult to navigate. What is it with people in their website design? Like, I'm just gonna leave when it's too fancy, you know? Here we go. This is just, look at this. This is stupid. You got videos embedded in here. Get out of here. Just make a web page that answers the question. This is a, oh my God, give grief a voice application. I hope you guys know that a lot of my anger and rage is 100% performative. I hope you guys know that, because I think it's funny. It's part of my comedy presence. You know, some of these people, you know, if somebody was grieving right now and they wanted to look up the 5 stages of grief, which turns out it's not 7. I thought it was 7, and I'm dumb, so just deal with that. But I had to go to the 6th website. To find it. Okay, denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. Those are apparently the 5 stages of grief. But I think shock is supposed to be first, right? And you're just like, what? And then you're like, nah.
I feel like that's part of denial.
Damn you, straight to denial. It's probably true.
Yeah.
Yep, well, either way. We did find the great property this weekend, so back to my own personal stories. Because I'm not going to be able to actually bring anybody back from the dead or solve anybody's problems around that.
Right.
So let's move on, and we'll talk about things that no one else can solve, but are slightly humorous. Okay. We look at a property. It's a dumpster fire. It is. You might as well have just lit the dumpster that was outside on fire and be like, it's one of the features of this property. It comes with heat. Yeah. And it's just like, why is this house even listed? Why are you having an open house? What is going on? I don't know what's happening right now. You know, and they're like, and it's $600,000, by the way. It's imaginary money. We don't care. We're just going to try to get every dime out of you we possibly can.
Right.
So anyhow, moving on. Then we looked at a couple properties that were just normal. But they weren't, there was nothing about them that was like, oh man, we gotta set this place to our minds, right? But there was one place that we were really interested in looking at the whole time. It's in a good neighborhood. It's a good place. It's just a good spot. So we go up there, and it's just shenanigans, bros. She-nan-agans. Because we have an appointment. Due to COVID, you have to have an appointment. It's even stricter than it was before when you had to have an appointment.
Oh, wow.
Right? It's like, hey, GTFO, you get out of here. We don't want to mix with your funk, whatever you got coming off you there, Pigpen, you know? Like, we don't want, I don't know you. Get out of here. We're going to look at this house. It's not your time. Anyhow, but people just cannot figure that out. They just cannot go like, well, my appointment's at 11:30, but I'm here at 10:45, so I'm just here now doing my thing, right? You're like, but why are you here? Then sit in your car.
Yeah.
Where the clock is and look at it and stare at it and wait until it's your time, and then
play a Wordle.
Engorge your legs and make them walk over here. I don't know. But either way, that's kind of dumb. But we go to this property. We know that they're going to have an open house.
Mm-hmm.
Listing agent shows up. She just casually, like, mentions to our agent, hey, you know, they already got an inspection done by a buyer. They waived inspection and already put in an offer for 10% over. And they denied it. They declined it. They turned it down. And you're like, listen here, douche. Why are you spoiling the well? You know, like, what are you doing?
Right.
You're trying to tell. Okay.
Just trying to scare us off. Scare you off.
No, they're not trying to scare you off. They're trying to get a bidding war going.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they want you to go like, oh, go crazy. Spend all your money. It's not my money. It's my commission. You know. So, yeah, just going through all that stuff with our guy. You know, we have a finance guy that lends us a lot of help, and you know, he's doing, you know, he's pulling up stuff from the assessors from 1975 and doing all the stuff. And he's really good at discovery and knows how to do all that. And so, you know, we were like gonna put in an offer on it today, and we just decided not to a couple minutes ago, because we were like, dude, we're so out. This is just crazy. Let's not do it. But there was another property that was right in our price range. 5 acres of land.
Ooh.
Big chicken coop. Shop for the fish room.
Nice.
Shop for the wood shop. House with house stuff, whatever. You guys understand.
Probably like.
Do you guys
floor.
understand what a house is? Do you know what I'm talking about when I say that there's a house? Is anyone confused? Let us know in the chat. Let us know your confusion, okay? Because we need more people to be chatting right now. You guys better start chatting more, okay? Start typing into the chat, and I'm going to read them with my eyeballs. I got freaking eyeball surgery so I could read your guys' chatting comments, and then you're not even providing them, okay? God. Listen, you're just listening to a podcast, but there's more you need to do. I can't even do it. Anyhow,
this is the audience participation.
So we find that property. Great. Oh my God. I'm like, Vicky's like, oh, I don't know. Ooh, but I like it. But you know, it's at the end of a road. You know, your only neighbors are the jerks across the street. 5 acres of land. It's checking all the boxes, bro. It's checking all the boxes, kid.
Yeah.
Then, you know when like really cynical people say that your children will ruin your life? You know when they say that?
Yeah.
You know when they say that? They're like, don't have kids, it'll ruin your life. Well, this is one of those moments, guys, because we could have easily moved to that property for sure. For sure. Except there's no school, okay? There's no school. I don't understand what's happening in the year 2022. There is no school.
That's
in that
so
area.
Weird.
There's no school, dude.
Like, you'd think that because most of these places, they'll be like, oh, and it's this school district and blah, 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 blah.
It's in a school district.
Okay.
Yes.
But none of the schools.
There is no school.
Huh.
Okay. I just have to like explain this. It is in a school district. It's in a school district that exists. There is no school that she could go to.
So that's like, are you able to like, and then you drop her off at a school? Or are we just talking like there's no bus to school?
Okay.
Like I
There's
get.
one available school.
Yeah.
In that area, which is X amount of miles away. I'm not trying to divulge total information as to where I'm moving to on the internet, so you got to understand I'm going to be a little bit vague.
No, that's
There's
fine.
one school that you can go to that scores 0 out of 10. Right.
Oh.
Like only 36% of the kids going to that school are testing on par with the rest of the state.
Oh.
Right?
Yikes.
So we go, okay, well, where's the alternative? No, that's the only one. That's it. There's no school. There's no options for school. There's only homeschool. I don't want to do that. I don't think I'm smart enough to educate somebody completely on all subjects. It doesn't make no sense to me whatsoever.
Yeah, you'd have to do distance learning forever.
Well, homeschooling just makes no sense to me. It's like, oh, this one person's going to teach all subjects for the rest of your life. And I was talking to somebody about it the other day, and they were like, oh, no, we think it's good because of indoctrination. We don't want our kids to be indoctrinated. And it's like, indoctrinated into what? And their answer was, well, you know, because they're teaching about those genders and stuff. And I'm like, yeah. Well, okay. Like, how difficult is it in the 21st century to understand that, like, gender is an ascribed thing, right? Which you go like, oh, that's a man over there, right? Whereas sex is a biological thing. Whereas a doctor comes in and goes like, these are operating testicles. That's a dude, right?
Right.
So, like, these are literally two different words that mean two different things. Do we understand when we say apple, we mean an apple, and when we say orange, we mean an orange? And you go like, what do you mean, man? Everything's fruit, bro. You're like, what? Like, I don't, but do we know?
Let's compare the apple to the orange.
But
really though.
Right. But these names that but the names that we've given them are just a name, right? Like it doesn't. Is it actually shocking you, or did you just get a static?
Yeah, it is.
It shocked you again?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'll figure it out. Just don't touch it for now, I guess.
Yeah, that's why I keep being like, oh right.
I mean, I could give you some electrical tape and I could some spray foam.
Well, let's maybe not do that because it feels like a semi-permanent solution to the problem.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
I'll just not touch it for now. Then it's really temporary.
Right. Can you touch the stand?
Yeah, I can touch everything about it. It's just this right here.
Okay. Well, don't touch that part. Touch the stand, and you'll be all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, I'll give you a handheld mic, and then you can be like an MC all night.
It's like.
You can be like all night. All night. We're not going to be here all night. Listen.
It might be night.
Listen, if we hit $125,732 goal, we'll be here all night, okay?
Who's here? Do we got anybody in Europe
you could be
here
like
right
hot
now?
on the mic, you know?
Any of them people in Europe? It's nighttime there.
Europeans? Of course. Of course there's Europeans here.
It's like
Europe, represent.
9:30 at night right now in the UK.
It's nighttime. They're all sleeping. I thought Wesley was first to the chat, but then I had to reload the chat to open it up, and then it disappeared. Everything before Paula disappeared. I don't have it now. I don't have the evidence of it anymore, but Wesley was first, and then who was second?
I don't know.
I don't know. I can't remember now. It's hard to
remember. I was probably driving at the time.
Were you driving? No, I think
no, because you had that loaded up way long ago.
Loaded up in the morning. Because I've been on the phone forever. Zoom meetings for financials.
Yep.
But anyhow, so there's no school for that house, which is just, it's just a total, like, there's, I don't know how to describe it without saying mindfuck, but like it's just like, what? How? After all this crap, like after all this nonsense going on, like how do we get to this point and then there's no school, so we can't buy that property? Like I just want to go find a wine barrel and kick it right over. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about? I want to go to an Oktoberfest and kick over the beer barrels and be like, ha ha ha. You're foiled. I've foiled your beer drinking party, you know?
Those things are so
Only
heavy,
sausages for you, right?
Those things are so heavy, though. You might hurt your foot.
Listen, if I can't kick over a hogshead, I'm nothing.
Okay.
Okay? I can do it.
You know.
I can do it.
There we go. See, Holland checking in. Joel G from New Zealand was trying to say, "Oh, I'm European." I'm like, "You're just European ethnically, Joel G from NZ."
Yeah. Ethnically. Kids need social interaction with peers. Yep, 100%. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The homeschooling thing is not an option. Both Vicky and I are like, it is so ridiculous. I mean, it's so ridiculous. The thing is, like, I would pay for public school or for private school if we had to do that. If it was like, this is the option, it's like, damn, dude, all right, we'll figure it out.
Right.
We'll figure it out. But the only option is a seriously underperforming public school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I got to say, that's one of the things when Justin and I were looking for a place to live, we were like, well, we don't have kids and we're not planning on having kids, so we don't have to look at the school districts. We just got to look at the property and whether we would want to live in the neighborhood.
Yeah, but do you want a bunch of like derelict, dumb kids hanging around your house outside in the streets?
Well,
these kids out there in the streets.
So far, I mean, we're only like a block from the high school,
right?
And it seems to be pretty tame.
Yeah, you are right next to the police station.
We are also right next to the police station.
That's a helpful thing.
Yeah.
Like if people really want to commit crimes, you're like right in the thick of it, you know?
Yeah.
You're like right in the you're going to get prosecuted zone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, nobody wants to get locked up in jail, so stop committing those crimes, you criminals.
Yeah.
Yeah, ding-dang criminals.
Yeah.
Quit stealing. It's not yours.
The crazy thing that happens is we've got one light in the back that turns on if there's like movement and stuff. Motion detector light. That's what that word is. And every once in a while, I'll go and I'll look and it'll be on. And I'm like, it's probably one of those cats.
Cat burglar, I think.
Because the gates to get in and out of the backyard are so loud, I would have heard them.
That's true.
Yeah.
Man, we have a 50% like ratio right now. It's not good.
Oh.
Yeah. It's probably going to go down too. Because we talked about gender versus sex and people get triggered and they just rage and throw their phones. Start screaming. Yeah. They've been listening to lots of Ben Shapiro, and they're like, "Oh my God!"
I see that guy.
My facts don't care about your feelings. Well, your facts are completely misconstrued, you dumb donkey. The chance of valedictorian just goes up the worser the school.
So let me tell you a story about that, actually. So my parents, when they decided they were going to start having kids or whatever, they moved from a very inexpensive neighborhood to a neighborhood with a better school district,
right?
A public school district. Before I was going to start entering the school system, which is great. And so I learned all this stuff and whatever. I went through that whole school district myself, and then I've got two younger sisters,
right? And
one of them, I think she was in 4th grade before things happened, and she and my family ended up moving out of that school district into a different school district, which was not as good. And so she ended up, while she was like right in the middle, like as far as academically in her school district there, she was so ahead of everybody else at the other school that she got out of the habit of studying because, you know, she's like,
so
I
much
already
smarter than the dumb kids.
Yeah. So she got completely out of the habit of studying. She's like, I already know multiplication and division and whatever, so I don't have to work on it at home.
Right.
And so she got kind of lazy about it, and then eventually caught up to everybody else, and then was right there in the middle again.
Right.
But in the middle at the lower school.
Right. So the moral of the story is you got to challenge the dummies and the smarties.
Mm-hmm.
You got to challenge them.
You got to challenge
people. Give them
something
to do.
Otherwise, they'll just if you let someone sit around and do nothing.
I don't think that's. I don't. Okay, I don't think that's like an appropriate description of humanity, though.
Yeah, that's true.
I think if you let children sit around and do nothing, they will sit around and do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's You know?
Yeah.
I think that's a very distinct difference. A 9-year-old doesn't care about anything. They'll just chill. Like they're like, oh yeah, I'll just play video games today. I don't care. But if you're talking about like adults, because this conversation has come up a lot of late, that like, oh, if you gave universal basic income to people, they would just get lazy and they wouldn't do anything. And then you go like, yeah, but every time we gave universal basic income to people, they actually excelled, worked more, and did more stuff. And you're like, well, what? You know, so
if you give people a basis of knowledge to work from.
Yeah. I mean, kids are different like than adults. That's just the reality. Like I think that's the big difference.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't challenge kids or have a good environment for them, they won't do well.
And then the purpose of having a standardized education is to give everybody kind of a blanket, like this is what there is, right?
Right.
And so then you can choose things to specialize in after that, which totally hit the mic. Which can inform your growth and learning later on in life.
Right. Right. I mean, it's true. Yeah. I mean, I'm with you.
Hopefully.
Yeah, but I mean, regardless, we couldn't buy that house because there's no school.
Right.
Yeah. So
you can't just let her run off into the woods, join a wolf pack.
I mean, I can. I'm not supposed to. People say I'm not supposed to. I mean, I could do it.
Yeah.
And I could probably get away with it.
Yeah.
Have you seen Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome? The feral child is in there. They're getting away with
true.
it. You know? Mel Gibson's was there, and he's letting it happen. He's letting it slide.
Yeah.
Although that's Australia, so it's hard to say.
It's hard to say.
It's hard to say because Australia's weird, you weirdos. Darko Leskovchek. I don't know how to say your last name. Some of my best childhood memories are me doing nothing. Yeah, isn't that? It's kind of funny. So the testimonial to whether or not adults would just do nothing. The best description I've ever heard for that was a study was done on prisoners that are on death row. No parole is ever going to happen. You are never going to get out, right? Those people have no reason to do anything. Yet they're exercising, they read books, they improve their cell as much as possible. They do all of these things with no incentive. There's zero incentive for them to do anything. They are not going to get out of jail ever. Mm-hmm. They're never going to be out of that prison, yet they do all of these behaviors. And they're like, that's a pretty good explanation as to like, oh wait, would everybody just get super lazy and do nothing, you know?
Right.
But the reality is our productivity in the United States especially, and around the world also, productivity has gone way up. Workers' wages have not gone way up. Actually, in the last year is the first time like workers' wages have gone up in a significant, in any kind of significant number. And it's just because of the pandemic, you know, it's like, and the fact that we only have like 3.7% unemployment. There's a labor shortage. There's not a lot of workers and a lot of work to be done. And, you know, and it's super funny if you turn on the crazy conservative radios, and listen to what they're talking about, it's because all the Americans are lazy. It's this old crazy, Protestant work ethic nonsense, which something I've been working on is dealing with the Protestant work ethic nonsense that has been proliferated in the United States, and it was inspired by arguing that about Henry Ford, how people like have just ignored all of the crazy atrocities that Henry Ford did, and they're just like, he implemented the 40-hour work week, blah blah blah. And it's like, no, he didn't. Labor unions there was tons of battles, like civil unrest, like to the point where like American citizen unions, labor unions, were fighting the army, like out, like what? Oh, Henry Ford did that? No, he didn't. Didn't do any of that crap. Like he's getting this, but he did have a 40-hour work week, right? Mm-hmm. Now I will remind you. That was 100 years ago, right? And the innovation that we've the innovation that we've put into place since then is, oh, that's good. Keep doing that forever. Like, even though productivity has gone way up, wages haven't gone way up. The wages have stagnated.
Right.
People are blaming Biden for inflation, which is just so weird.
And people
as
are
if the
working
presidency has anything to do with that.
More than 40 hours a week.
Well, it's like, regardless of who the president is, they don't have a lot of mechanisms to do anything about inflation. They just don't.
Right.
If somebody could show me a piece of legislation that the president could push through our representative republic in order to bring inflation down, I will be happy to read it. But it doesn't exist. The reality is that because of COVID, there's a ton of money in the United States system. The people have a lot of money because a lot of people stopped spending money on services, you know?
Yeah.
Like, did you go to the water park a bunch of times last summer and spend a bunch of money going to the water park? Did you go on a road trip last summer? Did you do all these service-based things and spend all that money on services last year? Nope, because a lot of them were unavailable. People spent all their money on goods. So a lot of corporations have had to raise the prices on goods because A, they could make more money off of it, but B, it's supposed to stem the tide of people buying stuff so they could continue to have inventory as an operational business. When you have zero inventory, you're not an operational business. Right? Now you're out of business because you have nothing to sell to anybody, right? So one of the mechanisms that corporations have, is to raise the prices so less people will buy all of their stock. Especially when we were looking at a supply chain deficiency last year where you were unable to get supplies from overseas, where most of our production happens, right? Like, and so it's one of those really weird things that you know, it's just Henry Ford created the 40-hour work week. That's what you think. That's what you've dialed it down to? Okay. Yeah. But wrong. Okay. You know.
Henry Ford utilized the assembly line in order to manufacture cars that were inexpensive enough to be available for many more people.
It's true. But guess who his customers were?
His own workers.
Yep.
Which is why he paid them more so that they could buy those cars.
So they could buy those cars.
Yeah.
Yep. How weird is that?
I feel like we've read the same thing.
Do we know a guy like that exists right now? Yeah, his name's Elon Musk. He sucks. I hate him. Yeah, if in a world of billionaires, be Mark Cuban. Don't be Musk. In a world of billionaires, be a Cuban, not a Musk. Right?
It sounds like a cigar versus
be a
cologne
Mark.
company.
Be a Mark, not an Elon. Be a regular human being, right? Big D Smoke says, my son went to the same 3 schools I went to. He even had my kindergarten teacher in her last year before she retired. That is weird. I'll admit it. I don't know how unique that is. Is that unique? That might not be, but it sounds really unique to me.
I feel like it's rare for people to grow up and then stay in the same place that they like, just not move out.
Right.
But there's always that percentage of people who stay
in. Right.
Like, I know there's a girl that I went to school with, and a few years ago, reconnected on Facebook just to see how she was doing. And she still lives, like, she actually lives with her mom, and they like split the rent or whatever on their place in the same house that she grew up in,
right,
in the same school district, and her kid goes to those same schools that I did.
Right.
And I'm like, that's insane. And so I'll be like, he's reaching 8th grade. Is he having to deal with Mrs. So-and-so? Is he having to deal with this and this? And she'll be like, oh, no. That teacher retired a long time ago. And I'm like, well, that's good because she was horrible. Right. You know, or other teachers that were much better. There was just one that we both had that was really not great.
Some are good, some are bad, right?
Yeah.
Is that how that works?
I think that's, sort of a human condition situation,
Yeah.
Um,
Joel G's that weirdo. I'm walking distance from where I was born and grew up.
Aw, so sweet.
You live on a tiny island with 8 people on it. Of course you do. What are you going to do? Build a boat?
How big is New Zealand compared to, like, California?
What? How big is what?
New Zealand compared to California.
It's like
miles.
1/8 the size, I think.
I don't know.
What do you mean, I don't know?
I'm just going to look it up. That's what I'm looking it up.
All right. Feel free to look it up. Just Bob, who's a new member to the channel, by the way. Just Bob is a new member to the channel. He has a green arrow now. Or they have a green arrow, sorry. And that's how you know. You'll know. You get a badge once you become a member. Like a boss.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And
does he get the green arrow?
He has the green arrow.
That's my favorite.
That's how we know. That's how we know it's legit.
Remember the yellow arrow?
I have the yellow arrow. It's right somewhere in here. I could find it. I could find the yellow arrow. Oh, here it is. Well, I gotta move it up to the top layer though, so we'll be able to check it out. Open yellow arrow. There it is. There. Now you have a yellow arrow on your face. Face. It's on my face now. Look,
nice.
Members up here, patrons over there. This is our goal today, $125,732. We're trying to, it's GoFundMe.
Nice. Okay, so New Zealand, as far as square miles, has roughly the same surface area as the state of Colorado.
What?
New Zealand, Colorado area, surface area.
Right. How much of it is a volcanic erupted disaster zone that you can't live in? Habitable? Which of it is habitable?
I don't know, but Colorado is also a rather mountainous.
Yeah, people live on all of it, by the way.
I know.
Go up to the top of Pikes Peak or whatever, and you're like, oh my God, we're 14,000 feet in the air, and it's like someone's house is over there. What is that? It's because America, because of America.
Anyway, let's see.
How did I get this last time? I was able to... How did I get to the button? There was a button before. I could find the button. Oh, I know how to do it. I got to go to the description, right? I got to see the description. Hold on. I'm going to accidentally play one of my own videos. I wonder if it's going to give me a Is this the link? Copy link. Copy. Here's the link in case you want to become a member just like Just Bob. But Just Bob was saying before the 18th and 19th century, people were much more relaxed about work. Only when the factories came and they needed steady workers did they change things into us being worker bees. Here's the thing, like, people worked hard back then. Of course they work hard back then. Yeah, there's no question about it. I don't think that they were lazy. I don't think that they were relaxed about things. I don't think that they were chill. I don't think they had a lot of chill. You know what I'm saying? They had a lot of problems and issues and things going on that they had to figure out how to resolve, and not a lot of answers in order to resolve said things, right? Like, how often were they like, oh my God, God's mad at us, so people are dying, you know? And it's like, no, you have rats living in your house, and they're spreading around a virus that's killing you, that bacterial or a virus.
I don't remember what the bubonic plague was.
What about the Black Plague?
Or that. I don't remember
we don't
if
know.
it was bacterial or...
Well, I'm just saying.
What?
You got rats living in your house. That's the problem. It's not God. God's not mad.
Yep.
I mean, well, God might be mad. I don't know. I don't want to describe a emotion that may exist. He might be mad. You think God's mad?
I don't know.
You think God has rage?
I don't
I feel like if God was a higher being like that, why would they have rage? You feel like they would have gotten past that a long time ago. You know, like maybe they went to God therapy. You know? Do they have a psychiatrist up there in the heavens? We are up in the heaven now, and we have 55 minutes for our psychological appointment there, God. Okay, come in here. Hurry up. I have another appointment after this. Let's talk about your issues. Yes.
And then you're just up there being all God. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, God would be all like, man, I keep doing all this stuff, and like, nobody appreciates it. You know? I mean, like, I know that they make churches and stuff, but maybe they could do something tangible for me at some point. Like, he's all super mad.
Respect.
Like, hey, I need my respect. He's like an old mafia boss.
Or just Rodney
I
Dangerfield.
keep asking him to come down here and do me a favor for the family. Yeah. You're like, what?
Okay. Kiwi Mamo knows about the old plagues.
Both the same. Bacterial. Could be treated with antibiotics. But it really begs the question. Did the people of the past, did they even know what anti meant or biotic or the combination of the two?
No, they didn't have germ theory at the time.
They didn't have anything. They didn't know what they were doing. Dummies. They were working hard, though.
Yep.
And not starving. Well, trying not to starve. Joel G has this free super chat is towards your new knees also. Do I need new knees? Maybe.
I don't know.
My knees are fine.
Good.
We're good. Chris Salazar says, they hurt. I respect what he's done for music, whoever he's helped. But he just got himself in a goofball situation. I don't know why people get mad either. Oh, about the Danzig. Yeah, yeah. The Danzig fans, dude, they're outraged. They are so outraged. They're mad. They're so mad at my YouTube presence. They're just... I mean, you could almost say they're Napoleonic about their rage. You know, it could be a... could be... Got him. Yeah. Kiwi Mamo says New Zealand is 450 kilometers squared, a.k.a. 172 square miles. Is that the size of Colorado?
I don't know.
Yeah, but
I just know that what I did was look.
How many people in New Zealand? I hate this keyboard. 5 million. That's it.
So my information says that New Zealand's area is 103,483 square miles.
Well.
But
yeah,
Kiwi Mamo lives there, so I'm inclined to,
Why is New Zealand's population so low? Our overall sparse population is because a large amount of New Zealand is quite simply unfit for human habitation. A lot of the South Island is mountains and too cold and steep to support a large population. God, does that sound like something I was talking about a minute ago?
No, I don't know who was talking about that. I think it was Danzig.
I think it was Glenwick. So stupid. It might be my life's goal just to make fun of Danzig forever. Mainly because those people got so mad, They just got so pee-pee pants, Got their pee pants on. No, they don't know about them then, but it did have herbal alternative. They knew about quarantine, though. That's true. They did know about quarantine and face masks back then. Mm-hmm. That's so wild.
I know.
It's so wild to think that they knew about quarantine. Oh, which is weird. Actually, the Jesus book, you know that thing?
Yep.
The Jesus book actually talks about quarantine and face masking like 1,000 years ago. Mm-hmm. It was all like, thou shalt quarantine whilst not, what I'm not exact quoting it, but it's in there. It's in the old Bible, the Bible book.
Yep.
It's in there, and talks about quarantining and face masking and not getting your germs on strangers, which is weird. It's weird to think.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. The guys walking around with their togas on and their fig leaves on their head. They're like all out there like, I shall bequeath upon you these tomes of knowledge. If thou art sick, go home.
Stop breathing out of the
Stay there until you are no longer sick and quit spitting on my face. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, that area I put up is including outlying islands. Yeah, I don't even know. I don't even know what's going on with New Zealand. I know there's about 8 people living there. It said 5 million. It doesn't seem accurate. It doesn't seem like an accurate representation. I don't know how well we could trust it.
I don't know. How much can you trust Google?
It's not Google in which we need to be trusting. It's the Kiwi. Needless to say, I love New Zealand. I love Kiwis. I want to go there desperately. I had completely forgotten about it, but I spoke to the old Koopy over there at the co-op, old Kobe himself, Kobe McCooperton, and he was like, dude, because we were talking about places we wanted to go. We were having a brain thinking sesh of like, hey, is there cool fish here? Is there cool plant there? Is there interesting thing there over here, right? Mm-hmm. New Zealand's on my list, by the way. I do want to go, 100%. I've always wanted to go to New Zealand. I want to go there. I want to hobbit out. I want to wear no freaking shoes and get weird. And
I hear they have excellent lam dishes there.
They do. I've imported lots of New Zealand lamb. It's delish.
Is one of the things that I'm like, oh, man. If I ever go to New Zealand, I'm going to eat lamb every day.
Every day?
Every day.
It's probably expensive.
I'm going to get tired of it.
It's probably expensive there also.
I
so
don't
just a heads up.
care. If I am on vacation, I'm going to eat lamb. If I only get to eat once a day, because all I can afford is once a day eating lamb, like a big lamb chop or something like that, that's fine. I'll do it.
I mean, I'm impressed by this sentiment that you've put out there. You're willing to sacrifice for the benefit of eating lots of lamb.
I'm sure they have other kinds of dishes and stuff.
I bet they do.
And I don't want to just pigeonhole myself into...
Here's the question. Do they still have tea time in New Zealand? These guys still have that? Do they still have that?
I don't know.
Tea time? Do they have that? We'll find out. We'll find out once the delay hits
Kiwi says
their earballs.
Mutton is better.
Oh, my God. The 2 o'clock alarm's going off. Oh, my God, guys. It's 2 o'clock. You know what that means? You know what that means? Become a member today. Become a member to the YouTube channel. Wow. I don't know.
I don't think I've ever
Oh, my God. I got a text from my buddy. Guys. Here's what it says. This is so stupid. Troy Aikman showed why he's the best analyst in football during the NFC title game. Where is it? It says, while most color commentators are afraid to criticize anybody or anything, Aikman will let the critiques fly at all times, but he does it fairly and professionally. No snark, no over-the-top attacks, just straightforward commentary. Oh, this is great. Because, you know, Sean, my buddy, and I, we were texting during the NFC Football Championships game yesterday, and his constant concern is how much he hates Troy Aikman as the announcer guy. He's doing the color analysis. You probably know who Troy Aikman is by name from being a famous footballer whilst we were kids. He played for the Dallas Football Cowboys.
Okay.
When, like, Emmitt Smith was playing.
Okay.
Sure, you know all about it.
I've heard the names.
Yeah, you know all about it. You know all about it, right? He's just a very weird idiot who's just, yeah, well, you know, look at that over there. This is going on. You know, this is the worst. But I digress. The football this weekend was quite good. I know you didn't watch football. I have to admit, every single game in the playoffs this year was spectacular. Overtime, close games, dudes scoring with 10 seconds left. Wild stuff. S says the AFC game was better. They were both good. I watched the end of the AFC game, by the way. I got home in time for that after looking at dumpster fire properties yet again. Although there is one that I'm probably going to go look at tomorrow or Thursday or something like that on my lunch break. Go check it out. That one has a 2,400 square foot shop.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
25 square foot. So it's like what? 12 by 11.
2,500 square feet.
Oh, I heard something else.
I don't know what happened.
I interpreted the words that came out of your mouth. It came in here. It hit the electrical field from this thing.
Oh, you got shocked? Oh my God, you've been shocked. No, it's got a really big shop on it. We'll see. It might suck. Who knows? It doesn't have a fence. The property's not fenced, and I was looking up the fencing costs, and it's just skyrocketed beyond the cost right now is insane.
Right.
I literally, the first place I got a bid from was it's $101,000. And I'm like, for a fence? Are these guys on all the drugs? I don't understand what's going on here. What? $101,000 for a fence around a piece of property? That no one would ever have a fence if that's the case.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't understand what's wrong with your bidding tool that you're sending over here.
Yeah, I don't know.
But we'll see. That one house, though, was the best. I want to move to it, but there's no school. It's just a bummer.
It is a bummer.
Would have been real cool, man. Real cool fish shop.
Yeah. You could start carrying these guys in there.
Who do you have? What did you bring with you?
It's my car toy.
It's your car toy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, hold on. Before we get into the fish part,
okay.
What is a car toy?
It's a toy that you put in your car.
It's like asking what's a shrimp, and you go it's a shrimp. It's in the name.
It's a decoration that I have in my car. I don't put stickers on my car, but I have. In my car, you know how they've got the roll cage on both sides, but then they try to give you a little bit more window on the in front of it. So I put this guy right there in the front window.
Right.
So it's like he's swimming along with me.
He's scooting around.
Yeah. And the best part is if I go through and get a Starbucks, go through the drive-through, sometimes you get a cool person at the window and they'll be like, what's that? What's that cool fish thing right there? Is that some kind of shark or a whale or what? And then I get to talk about Dunkleosteus.
Aubrey already got it.
Yeah, man.
Are you gonna give us your description?
So, Dunkleosteus was this awesome 30-foot freaking creature from the Devonian period, which is before the dinosaurs and before actual teeth were even evolved. He had bony plates sticking out of his jaw. And a double hinged jaw, so both the top and the bottom part of his head had a hinge on it, and he would just suck in all the water and whatever was around and just chomp it down. And it was just this beast of the ocean for millions of years. And they think that what he did was he would grind his teeth together and sharpen them that way so that they were always really sharp, but you could hear him grinding his teeth in the ocean. Yeah, but it's cool because he's just, I don't know, just this neat pre-dinosaur, pre-teeth, everything. Super cool.
Super cool?
Super cool, man. Super cool. This guy, top predator, before sharks, probably ate sharks or whatever was before sharks. He's not related to sharks. His lines completely died out. He doesn't have any anything even remotely related to him. They even they know the way that his eye was shaped because the eye was encased in a swiveling bone thing. And yeah, I don't know, it's just the craziest freaking monster fish.
He was a friggin' crazy monster fish?
Yeah, Darko just saw a video about it an hour ago. Nice.
Oh, you did? Really?
Darko did. Yeah, that's what he said.
Let's see what Joe Rogan has to say about his controversy. Let's see what he says.
First of all, to say thank you to everyone that sent love and support. I truly, truly appreciate it, and it's been very nice to hear from you. I wanted to make this video first of all because I think there's a lot of people that have a just.
He's all just like standing out in his yard, talking to his cell phone. The guy made $100 million. $100 million. This is 10 minutes long. We're not gonna watch that. Sorry, guys.
No.
It's funny. It's funny, like the response to the Joe Rogan controversy, right?
Mm.
So the controversy is that people have chosen to leave a platform that have given him $100 million.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, oh, I don't want my content to be on there anymore. And people are like, they're silencing Joe Rogan. They're trying to get him. What happened to free speech?
They're silencing themselves.
They're taking their content off of a platform.
Right.
Isn't that their free speech? Isn't that their free speech to go like, I want my content to not be around this content?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Spotify's is like, they didn't say like, we're going to cancel Spotify or whatever. It's like, I don't want my content on there. Right? That's it. But Joe Rogan's being canceled. Right? And the weird thing is that the people that have decided to take their content off of said platform have very concise reasoning as to why they've decided to take their content off of there. They feel that misinformation is being profited off of and promoted by a certain platform, and they've decided to not engage with that platform anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's the freedom of speech that those artists have. Right?
Yeah. Freedom of speech applies to everybody.
So what's the problem here?
Yeah, I don't know.
Joe Rogan's being canceled. Joe Rogan's not being canceled. People do not want to associate with Joe Rogan anymore, right? Sort of like if one of your friends is exposed as a rapist, right? And you're like, oh, they went to court. They were arrested. They were arraigned. They went to court. Evidence was presented, and they were convicted of the crime of raping another human being, right? And you'd be like, oh,
I'm not going to hang
I'm
out
not
with
going to
this
be
guy.
friends with that person anymore. And then Jordan Peterson comes out and starts going, oh, hey guys, you're canceling him. What about men's rights? You know, and you're like, why did this junkie in a tuxedo just show up and say that something was being canceled?
Mm-hmm.
Why are we taking this opinion over what? Like, why is this person's opinion so crazy valid? You know, I don't know. It's really weird. But yeah, I fully endorse artists to take their art off of platforms that they don't want it to be on, if they so choose, right? Just the same thing as that there's copyright infringement, which, by the way, my channel got a copyright strike because we played The Girl from Ipanema the other day. Now, yeah. I'm frustrated by that. Like, dang it. But it's real. And it's true. And those people's copyright should be protected because it's their art.
Right.
And if they decide that they don't want that content to be on what I'm presenting, right, without either A, paying for it
right
ahead of time, or paying for it after the fact, right? I don't believe that I was canceled, right? You know, so it's just so weird to see people like outraged that Joe Rogan's being canceled. It's like,
yeah,
oh, you made $200 million last year. Oh, he's being canceled. Oh.
If I made $200 million in 1 year, I would never worry about it. I would never worry about money ever again.
Oh, I'm sure you would.
I mean,
people adjust like crazy. People, you know, human beings like will adjust to a situation in an extremely rapid fashion. You know?
That's true.
So it's very weird. It's a very weird situation where it's easy to critique the ability or it's easy to critique somebody who has like an extraordinary amount of wealth, which it's easy to do that from, being a poor person, and you just go like, well, you made all this money. But the thing is that he not only makes that much money, he also has the access and availability to actually have expertise brought in as opposed to just some of his buddies, instead of bringing in actual scientists, he brings on like Eric Weinstein, which is or Brett Weinstein, or the both of them, right? Aren't they both brothers or something? Which like is just such a goofy situation, right? I know it's totally off topic, but it's related to the show that I do here, which you're a part of.
Yep.
When you can be. We got in a bit of an argument with somebody who's been following the channel for a really long time, Donald's Fish Vibes, right? He was like, Barack Obama gave Iran all this money. Secret money, secret dark drop money. And I was like, look, the United States government gave Iran's money back to them. And at the time, I didn't have all of the information at my disposal because I don't have an eidetic memory. I cannot recite all information I've ever seen off the top of my head and what time I saw it and all of those things. I don't have that. Oftentimes, when I find out something like that, I'll just be like, well, that's what happened. Now I have a base understanding of it, and I'm going to move on, right? A lot of people do that because that's how human brains work.
Mm-hmm.
So I went back to go read about what had happened, and the reality is that Iran in 1981 had purchased $400 million worth of weaponry from the United States. They'd given us, air quote, the United States government, $400 million, and the United States government never supplied those weapons. They just said, nah, never mind, and kept the money. Over what's basically a 40-year period, 35-year period, whatever, the Iranian government had been suing the United States to get their money back. And in international courts, the United States was losing. Now, the punitive damage would have been close to $10 billion is what Iran was suing for. And by all reports, they were going to win. They were going to win that settlement. The United States stepped in on behalf of the United States and said, let's make a settlement. And they ended up settling for, I believe, $1.7 billion, which is how much that money would have accrued in interest over that period of time, plus a penalty, basically. And they said, that's going to be the settlement. Take it or leave it, or we'll just continue this court battle or whatever. Well, the Iranian government said, okay, that's fair. We'll take our money back. We're good. Well, that money was delivered and done, and then every conservative wackadoo went completely off the rails insane and started talking about how the United States government was dropping cash out of airplanes in the cover of night, right? Like Operation Dumbo Drop, but with money.
Yeah.
And then it just gets absorbed as fact, and then they go, hey, there's that information. I put it in my head, and I just know it as a thing. Mm-hmm. Just the same way as I do. It's no different than anybody else. I'm not saying that anybody's stupid. I'm not saying that anybody is dumb. I'm not saying that anybody is willfully or maybe gleefully. You might be gleeful about it, but putting a message out there that is inaccurate. It's probably the information that you heard in regards to that situation, right? And if you listen to hundreds and hundreds of hours of content out there that is spewing that rhetoric out, that's what you're going to end up having established as fact, and that's probably what you're going to end up talking about. And that's what a lot of Joe Rogan fans are doing, is that you listen to Brett Weinstein, you listen to 5 hours of Jordan Peterson while he has a head full of Quaaludes or whatever the heck he's on, and then go like, well, that's the thing. That's the thing. We got to think about men's rights, you know. And Jordan Peterson, conveniently, comes down to the United States and talks about how his free speech is being impinged upon. He's Canadian, okay?
Mm-hmm.
They have a different constitution than the United States. You understand it's a different country, guys. You understand it's a different country?
Yeah, I think it's kind of weird.
It's not. They don't have the same constitution as the United States. So when they talk about free speech in Canada, it's under Canada's constitution. It's under Canada's laws. You understand? It's a different country. But yet Jordan Peterson comes down here to the States and starts crying about how his free speech is being impinged upon, when the reality is the law that he was complaining about, no one has ever been arrested, prosecuted, or fined for. It's a standard that was set by the Canadian Parliament that if you are intentionally discriminating against people on how they want to be referred to, there could be consequences for that. Like you could be fined if you are somebody in a position of authority, like a professor at a college, which you are in a position of authority as a professor in a college, teaching young people stuff, which, by the way, they're not all over 18. Oftentimes, there's probably 1 or 2 kids in there that are kids that are 16, 17, maybe 15. Pretty rare to have a 15-year-old in there, but there's pretty often to have 16 and 17-year-olds in there that have already graduated high school and they're going to college early.
Or they might be doing that Head Start thing.
Yeah, or yes. Or they could be doing Running Start, Head Start, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
Everywhere has a different name for it. But that's what his big complaint has always been, is that they're silencing his free speech because he wants to refer to people as a different gender on purpose once he's already been told, like, hey, don't call me Mr. whatever. Mm-hmm. Don't call me Mr. Brown. I prefer to be addressed as a neutral pronoun, and he would continue to do it. Oh, no, you're a Mr. I know, because I'm the professor. That's what he would do. And people got mad about it.
Right.
Because he's intentionally, if you came in and you told me your name was Steve, and I just called you Jeff, and you go like, hey, man, my name's not Steve, or my name's not Jeff, it's Steve. Okay, Jeff. Hey, man, stop calling me Jeff. I'm your boss. I'll call you whatever I want.
Right.
And you go like, well, I don't want to be called that. And as a matter of fact, it's making me pretty pissed off that you're calling me by the wrong name. Mm-hmm. Like, please stop doing that. No, I'm your boss. I do what I want. Okay. Well, if you're the boss and you're making an appeal to authority that you get to do what you want to people that you have power over, well, it's not out of the realm of consequences that the people that you're putting that prescription on decide to appeal to a higher level of power above you, right? So it all just ends up being this escalation to a point where somebody passes a law and goes like, here's the law now. We wrote it down. These are the rules. You must follow them. Because everyone has decided to vote on this, and we agree that stop calling Steve Jeff or Jeff Steve or whatever the hell it is, right? And by the way, there does become a certain point where you're calling somebody the wrong thing is intentionally to cause them harm. Mm-hmm. Like you're intentionally trying to harm them, right? Like you might do it on accident once in a while, and nobody would be offended by that. Right. No one would be offended that, whoops, sorry, you're Jeff, not Steve. There was a Steve guy, and he looked just like you, and I don't know, there's something going on. I don't know why I keep mixing you up with somebody else. No one would be mad about that.
Right.
But if you kept doing it intentionally over and over again, there's a track record right there that you're like distinctly trying to make somebody pissed off with your actions or harm them in some way or whatever. Like, yes, maybe it is their feelings that you're harming, but like, do we all just go around like intentionally harming everybody's feelings, like just on purpose, and then like that's a win somehow? It's not a win. It's not winning anything. It's losing. It's a losing battle. Right. That's society being degraded to the point where people are just yelling at each other and going crazy, which we're not supposed to devolve into the mob, right? Right. Because mob rule, right?
Right.
Everyone likes to say that the mob is dumb.
Rule of law or mob rule? Pick.
Yeah. You pick or choose. You can pick one or the other.
Yeah.
You know? But you can't just go around screaming about how the mob is dumb and the mob is angry and mob's going to rule. But when they write a law that has been reviewed by the court, and now you have rule of law, and then go, the mob's trying to get me. I'm going to wear a tuxedo today. You know, like, well, what? No one says you can't wear a tuxedo. I certainly can make fun of it because it's stupid. Because that is objectively dumb to wear a tuxedo to a podcast where everyone else is wearing sweatpants and a T-shirt and a hat on backwards and a ball cap on backwards, you know?
Right.
Like, what?
Right. No, I get it.
But then again, I guess dress for the job that you want, hanging out on the red carpet wearing a tuxedo for no reason.
Oh, I was going to say Undertaker.
And selling books to selling books to teenage boys who are having issues with making their bed and cleaning up their room. Got it.
Yeah.
You want the 12 rules to live your life by? Like, just go to an AA meeting. There's 12 rules right there. They're already done. They expanded on the Oxford 5 rules and expanded it to 12. It was already been done. Yeah, you don't need 10 and then another 10 a couple years later.
Yeah. It's weird. I mean,
Let's
I
see.
don't know.
Let's take a poll in chat. Does anybody in here hang out with Millionaires Weekly? I don't hang out with Millionaires Weekly, but I do know a bunch of them, believe it or not. Mainly from work, you know, people that hire me to do stuff and whatnot.
I'm related to several.
Oh, my God.
But not
in a
way that I would be inheriting any.
What I don't know is any billionaires. That's what I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I met Paul Allen once, but he's dead now. So
I feel like being a millionaire is a much lower bar than it used to be.
To be a billionaire?
No, to be a millionaire with an M.
Actually, it's like one of the weird things is that so you could say that somebody's a millionaire, right? And a perfect example would be like Bernie Sanders. Yes, he is a millionaire. He's also 80 years old. He's worked his entire life making money, saving money, putting money into a pension, putting money into his life insurance, putting money into this, buying a house, paying off a house, right?
Amassing wealth
over like a 60-year career of working.
Right.
Like, of course, he better be a millionaire by now, or you would really have questions. But yes, the guy's like net worth is like $3 million or $2.8 million or something goofy like that. Which, like, yeah, man, he should be. Like, you've been working your entire life. Your net worth should be something like that. Yeah. But Bernie Sanders is distinctly different from somebody who's 26 years old and has $3 million. Can we accept that? Right? Can we understand that and comprehend what people are talking about when they talk about, like, weird millionaires and billionaires doing weird stuff, you know? Yeah. That's the difference. Jeremy used to hang out with millionaires every day at work. Yeah, right. Especially like if you work in a professional setting, like everyone who's there that's over 60 should be a millionaire, right? Like, imagine if you were making $140,000 a year, right? And you've been doing it for 40 years. You should have $1 million saved up, like just on accident, you know, by that point.
One would hope.
I'm just saying you should, by accident, have like $1 million. But if you're making that kind of money, you know, or that kind of equivalent money, yeah. Michael Bulow says, yeah. Only millionaire I've known personally didn't do it legally. Oh, that's good. Yeah. Yep. Fortunately, I've only had to wear a tux once in my life. I've worn a tux a few times. I've gone to some tuxedo events. Just Bob says, I'm unsure about the pronouns, willing to learn, but it's almost like a new language. It needs time. Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Nobody is born with all the knowledge.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm more talking about, like, interacting with the world on an individual level, which is what everyone that's watching and everyone who's listening right now, that's how you guys interact, right? That's how I interact. That's how all of us generally interact. And just going like if Alyssa came to me and she said, I want you to use male pronouns for me moving forward, or neutral pronouns or something, right? I'd be like, crap, okay, I'm going to try. And then we would work on it. And I wouldn't be doing it like maliciously, because it would be obvious during our one-on-one interaction
right,
that I wouldn't be like trying to harm Alyssa, right?
Would not just be an immediate, jerk about it or anything.
Right.
Like, hey, I just presented this information to you 30 seconds ago. Why don't you have it perfect already?
Right. And also the weird thing would be is like, I wouldn't suddenly go on all these wild tirades about how somebody told me to like interact with them in some way that is basically innocuous, right? To just respect somebody else's autonomy in life, right? Like, there's just, why would that be? Yes, you might have to learn new things.
Mm-hmm.
That's life. That's every single facet of life that you do. You can either choose to learn some new information, or you can choose to just be not learning the new information, which there's a word for that. Ignorant. That is the choice to avoid garnering new information.
Right.
Right? That's the difference between being dumb, right? Being dumb is like, oh wow, your brain doesn't work as well as everybody else's or whatever, right? Like that's the point of that word. Is that like this person is just dumb.
Right.
Right? Ignorant is woefully choosing to ignore information.
Mm-hmm.
Avery Sean says that's a slippery slope. Okay, I don't understand what that's a slippery slope is in response to.
I don't know, man. I just try to exist in the world and hurt as few people as possible. And the way that I do that is, you kind of learn some things. Like, if somebody is presenting themselves as if they are a female person, you probably pretty safe using she, her kind of pronouns.
Right.
If somebody comes up to you and they're already kind of tomboyish and you had an idea they were a girl or whatever, but then they're dressing really tomboyish and then they change their name, all of a sudden you'll be like, hey, are your pronouns updated?
Or yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things that,
let me know.
like, yeah, I mean, the evolution of the world is everything is just evolving, right? Like, the evolution of everything is evolving. Like, it wouldn't make any sense to be like, for instance, like gay marriage. If you time traveled back to 1980, and be like, gay marriage, everybody. And people would be like, what are you talking about? Oh my God, that's crazy. That's the most radical, wild thing I've ever heard in my entire life. And you're like,
or they'd be like,
crap.
You mean like
Time
when
machines are
Uncle
dangerous.
Jeff and Aunt Lucy got married, even though Uncle Jeff is gay and Aunt Lucy's a lesbian?
Or whatever. Yeah. I mean, But the funny thing is that, like, when gay marriage was going on, how many people I had to argue with that, like, why would these people get more rights than me? And it's like, no, they're trying to get the same rights that you already have. Mm-hmm. That's it. No, they're trying to get more rights. They're trying to get more rights. They're trying to get more rights than they have currently now. Yes, which would be equivalent to what you experience already. Not more, just the equivalent. That's all. And then it's like, no, they want to get in the bathroom, and it's like, hey man, ain't nobody want to get in the bathroom, bro. Ain't nobody want to get in the bathroom with you, dude. Like, ain't nobody wants in there. Nobody wants in there.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. So it's all weird. It's all weird.
Yeah, it's weird. But whatever. The world evolves.
Yeah.
The world moves forward.
Yeah. Jeremy says, you sure do, Big D Smoke. Even some landscapers make $100K. Yeah, I mean, you would be surprised that there are a lot of people out there that make $100,000 a year now, and you just might not know it. There are a lot of small business owners out there now that are actually making over that. Mm-hmm. But owning a small business ain't easy. I'm not that guy out there who's like criticizing, like a landscape company. I'm not criticizing a landscape company for making ends meet, and doing what they can within the market that they operate in. I have criticisms for gigantic corporations like Walmart that continue to leverage their position against what we would call a free market, what we would call an actual regulated capitalism, which is all what we all have an expectation of, and operate within a free market that's also paying out to fellow citizens a wage that we don't have to subsidize with our tax money in order for people to work and those guys make profit. That's the issue that I have, right, is issues like that. I don't take issue with a local landscaper saying, I got $15 an hour if somebody wants this job. You know? I ain't mad at that because they're going like, look, it's what I could pay. And if somebody wants to work the job, maybe we could get more stuff done. I got work to do. If you know, I'm not criticizing that. It's very rare that there really are that many small businesses out there that are distinctly abusing their labor force, because the big thing there, the big difference there is that most of the laborers have an interaction with the owner, right? Is that like most small business owners have had conversations with the people that work with them and have like a base understanding of kind of what's going on. And most of them are trying to work to get better wages. Not all, understandably, I know. But most of them are working to provide better wages for their workforce because rising tide.
Raise all ships.
Yep.
Like my, back when I had a small business, as a house cleaning company, my one remaining cleaner at the end of it when I was shutting everything down and I gave her all of the clients that she could handle, she ended up raising her rates to $10 more per hour than I used to charge.
Right.
And I'm like, rock on, lady. And what is she doing with it? She's like, man, what is she, like 43 or something like that now? She's older than I am. And she's like, I can tell that this is not something that I'm going to be able to retire off of because there's only so much abuse that one body can take, right? So she raised her rates. She moved all of her clients up closer to where she lives, which is in, like way up in Everett. And by moved her clients, I mean she got different clients. Yeah. Obviously. And she's now taking classes to be like a technical writer or something like that, so that she's got something, because she's able to pay for that using her cleaning. Yeah. So I'm like, yeah, rock on, lady. Make that money.
Right.
Do it.
Yeah.
Get yourself that retirement eventually.
Yeah. And of course, to everybody watching the show, people have a tendency to get super pissed if we talk about politics, if we talk about things that are going on. I get it. I understand. We don't have any fish questions. We'll answer fish questions if people want to talk about aquariums for sure.
Well, I really wanted to know about something that I'm
telling you, like, we so rarely ever get to talk nowadays anymore that like a lot of this stuff comes out because we've been mulling it over forever. And it's like, Alyssa, I haven't talked to you in like 2 months. What are you doing? What's going on? What's happening?
I know, right?
Yeah,
it's crazy. Aubrey did ask about, like, I discovered something last night with my fish, and I've been trying to gather more information. I don't really want to spread what could be misinformation. Like, I don't want to spread the hypothesis around and have people spouting it off as fact when I don't have any data to back it up. Like, that's what would make a bad science.
Yeah.
I want to do good science.
Okay.
I want to try and do good science before I go and...
Speaking of that, become a member today.
What's Alyssa alluding to?
Become a sponsor to the channel today.
Find out
we can try to do some freaking science stuff. Damn it.
Test some biology things.
What's going on with this computer over here? This computer is doing weird stuff over here.
You got like 3 computers down here, man?
Yeah, I got lots of computers down here, dude.
Nice.
I got computer parts, too. Look at that. That's the bones.
I see. That's where all the bones, the bone pile. You're going to make a bone palace out of it?
That's the boneyard. That one died. Yeah. People don't believe me, but that motherboard, or the chip on the motherboard. The motherboard still works, but the chip died. And I still haven't been able to find a CPU chip that was even remotely close to a purchase price that would make sense.
Hold on. Joseph Stanley says, I have a fish question. What fish do politicians keep? I say silver dollars.
That's rough. That's rough, dude. It's rough, bro.
It's fun.
I understand what's going on here.
That's only if they don't have goldfish.
Goldfish? What is going on? My email's like freaking out on this computer over here. Okay, there we go. I think I got it fixed. Maybe? I don't know. We'll find out. Michael Boulot wants. He says, "I want to do weird science."
I know, right?
Yeah. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you want to do weird science? 2 of my shell dwellers have like a pimple just under the mouth. Any ideas?
How old are they? I want to know how old the shell dwellers are, Jeremy. Sometimes it's just like they've been rubbing on something, or like bashing the little face into something. Because I know what you're talking about. I don't know your fish specifically, but I've seen that before on like cichlids and that kind of thing.
Mm.
And it just seems to be they're just bashing little faces into stuff.
Just bashing their little faces.
Yeah, and just kind of where they rub their faces on something in order to try to stir up worms to eat. But especially if it's just there, that's usually not a disease and more of a like a callus or some sort of injury that's healing up.
Oh, yeah.
Just a year or so. Yeah. I don't know how long Shelleys live. How long?
What, like a year and a half, 2 years? I think. I don't think they have like a super long lifespan.
Fish. Neolamprologus can live 8 to 10 years with
Oh my
proper
God.
care.
Oh my God, it's so much longer than I thought. What an idiot. What do you got? I don't know. I don't know what the pimple is. I don't know what I mean, like, the first thing that I would say is, like, maybe they're running into something and damaged them, and maybe it's just, like, a wound, or, yeah, I don't know. I've never seen anything that looks like a chin pimple on a fish that's
Is
like
it males or
disease.
females, Jeremy?
I don't know.
Since, our chat isn't flying too fast,
feel like I
so we
should
can just ask a question and
feel
have
like-
it get answered.
I feel like I could see, like, an image that might help. That might definitely help.
Oh.
Become a member today and get access to our Discord chat where you can post pictures of your fish.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
Yeah, that's a benefit. That's a perk, dude.
Mm-hmm.
That's a perk, dude.
I know a lot of betas get it, too. Let's see.
Well, that almost every time when it was with the beta, it was one of those two things where the fish had, like, damaged itself by bonking into something, and it was just a wound, or it was a fungal situation.
Mm-hmm.
Those are, like, the 2 times I ever really had what could be described as your description there. One of each, male and female.
Let's see. So this is what I do, is I always go and look up what it might be. Some people... Here, let me... I just looked at betas. Let me look at other fish here.
Okay.
Is it red at all, or just like the same color as the rest of the fish?
Lymphocystis. Man, I guess it could be. I guess those are kind of pimply. Well, which is a bummer. Because I was trying to think, like, if there was anything for lymphocystis. Or cystis? I don't know if I'm saying that right. But on initial looking, it's like there is no treatment for it, which is a bummer. But apparently water quality stressors, the same kind of stuff advice that I would give is like, how's their diet, how's their water, other things stressing them out, like is the tank overcrowded, is there enough shells for them? The only times that we ever really had issues with any of the shell dwellers was we just didn't have enough habitat for them. That's when things started to get kind of squirrely, in which we we would move some to a different tank, move them to a new tank. Also, initially when we had shellies, we probably only had like maybe 30, maybe 20 or 30 shells. Like we didn't have enough shells in there for them. So this is probably 2005, maybe 2005-ish, I think. And at the time, it was like not an easy task to get a hold of big shells that fish could dwell in. It wasn't easy to get them.
Those escargot shells.
Escargot shells, yeah. And the funny thing is I actually went to one of my food distributors and was like, hey, do you guys have escargot? And the guy was like, no, but we have the shells. And I was like, what? And I ended up ordering them from a food distributor.
Nice.
Like, I was like, hey, can you send me some of those? And they were like, yeah, we'll get them on the truck next week. And it was like, I don't even have to go anywhere. It was like before Amazon, dude. Like, it was before Amazon, but it was thick and rich, just like Amazon. It just showed up. And then I had bags and bags of shells, which, by the way, I will tell you, the funny part of that situation was we bought way too many. We bought a case, which turned out to be like buco shells, bro. Lots of bags that were like this big,
right?
Netted bags. It was like, we've got a lot of these now.
Nice.
Yeah,
and then you can resell them.
It's a good point. Could have resold them, I guess. We may not have accomplished that task at the time.
Well, oh well.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's hard to go back in time and tell yourself what you could have done a little bit more wisely.
Speaking of time machines, if you went back to 1980, yeah. Same-sex marriage would be a radical idea. No.
Jeremy, the one thing that I saw that might be of concern possibly would be if there was like anchor worms or something like that in the tank, but I feel like that would be elsewhere in the tank too, like on other fish or like other bumps on other places other than just right here. But if you don't have anything but the shellies in your tank, you might maybe just do a little quick, like a general cure kind of thing going on, just in case. Flush it out.
I think it's probably fine. I mean, from your description, I think I would be treating like fungal. That's what I'd be treating for. But general cure probably is fine. That does fungal, right?
I think so.
Or is it just bacterial?
No, general cure has kind of an anti-parasitic.
Right.
It is good for things like flukes and.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. I just get them confused.
Every once in a while, I'll treat the goldfish with the general cure.
I just get them confused because I'm not like a veterinarian. I'm not like assigning people to.
Right.
Here, take these meds. Go crazy.
Right.
You're always doing that, like on Facebook and stuff, aren't you? Aren't you?
What?
The fish groups that you're in.
Sometimes.
Giving people advice. Telling
Kiwi Mamo's got to go. See you later, Kiwi.
What? It's like noon where you're at. What do you got to do? Probably lunch.
Eat lunch.
Lunch
yeah.
sounds good.
Or tea time.
Lunch sounds good. Tea time. Ooh, tea time's about to kick off, hot
Heck
and fresh.
yeah.
Never got an answer for that. Is there still tea time? And
She says she still does it. She
Yeah?
says she's old, and so therefore she still doesn't.
Nope, tea time is gone. Tea lady and trolley gone. Oh, bummer, dude. From Joel G. But there's morning tea and afternoon tea and tea.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not a huge fan of the tea, personally, myself. I like it every once in a blue moon. But Vicky is just hooked. We got like a whole tea area that we got to deal with around here, around these parts.
Justin likes his Earl Grey in the morning. So, and I'm a coffee person.
Yeah, I'm always drinking coffee.
And I just do the French press. So what I do is I just boil up the water in the kettle, and it's enough for my French press and a cup of tea for him. So I just bring him his tea.
Huh. Imagine that. Imagine that. Wave of the future.
Yep. A wave of the future, speaking of the past.
Let's see. What do we got? Maybe 10 minutes left here? We got 10 minutes left? Become a channel member today. Oh, my God. It's unbelievable. Yeah. Right. I definitely wanted to talk about Star Wars stuff. Star Wars talk is tomorrow with Dr. Black, though. We'll talk about that stuff then. So anybody that's looking forward to the Star Wars talk, we'll get that sorted. Oh, a whole bunch of people left. Well, where'd you all go? A lot of people
Well, we
left.
started talking about fish stuff, and they were like, fish stuff?
Right. Actually, we did start talking about fish stuff, and then everybody left. They got mad. What happened? What happened, y'all? Yeah. Anyhow. Any hoozles. We're going to talk about Star Wars tomorrow on the Dr. Black show, so got to put a plug in there. Dr. Black 66. Check out the channel. It's normally like 5 hours from now. It's in the evening Pacific time, which is, I have no idea. It's like
It's usually like 7:30.
afternoon. It's like afternoon tomorrow
PM.
Australian time. So it's very weird.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know what happens. Whenever I'm talking with them, I have to realize it's tomorrow during the day. It's all dark here. It's dark 30 here, and then yeah. Yeah.
Jeremy, it's fine. I like answering questions.
Yeah. I mean, as you know, our main focus is aquariums and stuff. But you know, we get on the sidebar of like current events of the day, and we because that's some of the stuff we got to talk about. We don't even check the like button. We just smack it around a few times, like we have a problem with it. That's a good point. Hit the like button 3 times. Let's see. Few doors and windows. Yeah, 4 walls and a roof. That's a house. Agreed. Seems like a turning point here, but our market has extended even further than Seattle, as crazy as that sounds. As far as the housing market goes, the housing market in Western Washington is realistically one of 5 or 6 markets in all of the United States that are expanding the. I forget what it's called. I can never remember the name of it, but home loan. So jumbo loan is the so in a conventional loan, you have this sort of middle area of what you can get approved for from the bank.
Okay.
The top of that's called a jumbo, and then below that is called a sub something.
Subprime?
It's not a subprime. It's a sub market, sub something. I don't know. But that middle area is quite large. It in markets like Western Washington. It goes from I think 300,000, but now it's been extended up to 891,000. Everything in between that is considered a normal standard home loan in Western Washington, which is crazy to think. Like, in order to get into what's called a jumbo loan, you got to go over 891,000, which is wild. But we're approved in the middle there, right? And it's very difficult to compete in this market that we're in.
Right.
Because there's not a lot of houses, and they aren't building a lot more houses. And the houses that they are building are in the jumbo loan market.
Yep.
So it's not increasing the inventory in the area of houses that people like Vicky and I are trying to buy. But it is some of the houses we look at, the numbers seem astounding to me, but they're just normalized with everybody who's involved, whether it be an agent or our finance guy or the bank people or the loan people. Everybody who's involved is like, yeah, all right. And I'm like, $600,000? Are you kidding me? Like, oh my God, it's just, So it's pretty wild, but that's just what it is. And, the thing is, I can tell you guys from personal experience, a lot of people have been waiting for the bubble to burst or it to go back down or a market correction or a whatever. It's likely to not happen for the reasons I just kind of talked about, which was there's not more inventory coming in to the market. And the other thing is that a lot of people say, well, you're going to default on those loans. A lot of people are going to default on their loans. They're going to lose their house or whatever. Here's the reality. If you hadn't been paying your mortgage for a little while in Western Washington, your house has been accruing value, which is called equity, without you doing anything to the house. The market's going up. Your house is becoming more valuable. Now, if you were to go to your loan officer or your banker guy or your finance guy, whoever's in charge, or even just your bank, and you said, I'm having troubles paying my mortgage, I don't know what's going on, I don't want to lose my house, they'd go like, well, there's multiple things that you could do. You could do what's called a cash out refi, which is you would refinance your loan and take money out of that loan, right? And so you'd be able to have capital so you could pay your mortgage for however long, whatever that looked like, because they don't want you to default on your loan. It's not good.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could do a home equity line of credit, which means your house is more valuable. You could take out credit against your house. There's a lot of things that you could do. So a lot of the houses that people were hoping would default and end up on the market in Western Washington, it's not going to happen.
Right.
Because there are some avenues that those people can go down and try and keep themselves afloat for a good amount of time until they can figure out whatever it is that they need to figure out. Like those houses aren't going to hit the market. The new houses that are coming in are basically way too expensive for people to buy, realistically. They're not going to build a whole lot of affordable homes. It's just not what's going to happen. So we'll see. It's just bonkers, but it's just going to keep going up. And there's a limited amount of land. There's water over there. There's water on one side. And there's mountains on the other side. So there's a limited amount of land. You can only just live in this corridor, basically.
Yeah.
And that area is not going to get bigger. We're not going to expand into Canada. And we're not going to expand into Oregon.
Right.
Because then you're in another state altogether, or another country, as we talked about earlier. How Canada is not the United States. They have a different
I know, right? So weird.
constitution,
You'd
right?
think it would be the same, but it's not.
You would think it's the same, but it's not the same country.
Right.
They actually are two different countries.
Oh, actually, can I give a case in point about the home situation? Roughly a year ago, when Justin and I were looking for homes, and there was one that we were kind of looking at, and they got an offer or whatever before we even had a chance to go look at it. So this morning, Justin goes, I don't know if you're going to remember this house, but let me show you something. And I was like, what? And he goes, do you remember this house? And he shows me a picture of the house that's listed again. I was like, oh, did it not sell last time? Is that what's going on or what? And he's like, no. It sold for, what was it, like 380 or something like that. It was a small house. And And he's like, maybe they updated it or something and they want to sell it because right now it's listed for like 420 or something like that. And I was like, well, let's see. What do the pictures look like? And I'm like, no, that's what the interior looked like last year when they bought that house.
Right.
I'm like, did they just buy this in cash and then now they're going to flip it and it's probably going to sell for 450 or 470 or something like that.
Well,
and they're just going to make.
Well, the problem is, like, they could have bought the house cash, but it's kind of a bad investment to just buy a property in cash, first off, because the rates are so low, right?
Right.
Like, interest rates were like, on home loans last year were like record low. They were like 2.75 or something like that. So there's no reason to do that because you just lock up all this money that you could be doing some investment.
Right.
So that seems doubtful, but my guess would be somebody bought it on a mortgage and then they're probably selling it for probably like a personal reason as opposed to just making money. Because in that situation, you're going to lose out all your money on closing costs and commissions and fees and everything. You know, like, yeah, you might make 10 grand out of the deal or something, but now you don't have a house. It's like, it's probably not a great situation. I would guess something was going on there that was probably more personal than just, hey, greed to try and get some money.
Right.
You know,
I don't know. I thought it was interesting. I looked through the photos and I'm like, that's exactly what the house looked like when they put it up last year.
Well, no, I mean, so one of the houses we went to look at was purchased last year for $300,000. They air quote flipped it. It's one of the worst remodels I've ever seen in my entire life. I literally was just like, what in the hell? I'm like, look, people get mad at me because they're like, why are you being judgmental? I'm like, this is terrible. That's why. Like, this is terrible. And my way of expressing it is to make fun of the terrible that is going on here. And the fact that they're charging $325,000 for terrible.
Yeah.
Right? Like, some sucker is going to buy that house.
And it's just going to fall apart.
Yeah. And, like, that right there is greed. That right there. It's like, this house was bought by realtors. So it's real estate agents that bought it. They put the minimal amount of remodeling into it. It's because it has a view of a lake. It has a water view out the front door, or out the front windows. And they're trying to sell it for $325,000 more, like 4 months later.
Yeah.
Because they remodeled it. They didn't even put appliances in it. Like, where the dishwasher is supposed to go, it has a hole, right? There's just a hole where this dishwasher is supposed to go.
Oh.
And anybody that understands things about electrical, the finish electrical is not there. There's Romex just hanging out of the wall, and they're like, this is how we're selling it, right?
I'm done.
Yeah. It's just like, what is this? Oh, my God. What? And here's the thing. I could fully understand a company buying a house that was really dilapidated, stripping it of all the bad, and rebuilding it into a really nice home and going, this cost a lot of money. You know, construction's not free, materials aren't free, time isn't free, all that stuff. Understandably, if they had done a fantastic job to it, I could go like, we can make an evaluation of what it was that they did to the property. If that evaluation is valuable to us, maybe it is. Maybe we do finance this and try to move forward on it or whatever. But in my opinion, it wasn't even a consideration of whether or not they had done a good job. It was like, this is the definition of a bad job, and they want to charge 3 times the amount of money that you would have charged for a good job, you know? And so it's just like one of those things. Like, that is pure greed right there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's insulated concrete form construction?
Insulated concrete form construction. I think it's fine. I think it's just like a solid innovation in the ability to actually build concrete forms quickly, effectively, and you don't necessarily need to waste wood materials when you don't necessarily have to waste wood materials. You don't need specific craftsmen. You can actually make the foam blocks ahead of time, and people can assemble them on site to spec a lot easier than I think you could building wood form and stuff like that in the past. But that's like, I think it's beneficial. I honestly think it's beneficial from my viewpoint. I know that some people have been upset about it because, like, masons are getting pushed out of work, that they could be getting, because like kind of lower skill guys can come in and assemble that stuff. But I just think it's the innovation that's you're likely going to see more and more. If there's a different insulated concrete form construction you're talking about, I would be interested, but so it looks like this for Alyssa. Let's see if she can actually see it. So they make these pieces like this. You get them packed. So this side and this side is foam. So it's like an insulated piece of foam, and then it's got the hangers in between it. So you make the wall, you stack these all together, and then the concrete goes in between it when you pour it. You pour the concrete inside here. But as you can see, like, anybody could pick these up and assemble them. Like, a 2-year-old could assemble them. Now, not like professionally Legos. In the right spot to build a house or a foundation or whatever, but I think it's a beneficial innovation. Like, personally, you are kind of spending more on the, well, I don't even know if it's more on the materials. It might not be. It might be cheaper. I don't know. I'd have to sit down and calculate out the cost of like wood material versus this stuff. But I think personally, I have considered using this on some projects, and I do intend to use it on some projects in the future because it's. I've made wood forms forever, and I've always done wood forms, and this really does intrigue me to being able to build some shapes and stuff and afford to be able to get a pump truck to come in with the concrete, as opposed to like trying to position a truck in a spot where we don't have to pay for the pump truck, so that's something that I do look forward to. Like, one of the properties that Vicky and I looked at this weekend that would have been a perfect candidate to utilize this in the future, in the future, where we were going to pour some concrete forms, which would have been really far from the road, and you don't know if you'd be able to get a concrete truck to back up.
Oh yeah.
And then have the sluice come down. You know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. It's like a slide. It's like a slide for concrete that poops out the back of the truck.
Yeah.
Well, in situations where you're really far from where the truck can get access to, you poop that concrete into a truck that has a big long hose on a crane arm. Okay. So you can put like a big crane arm like 200 feet over there, and then it'll drop straight down.
Right.
Obviously, that incurs more cost.
Yeah.
Because you don't just get a pump truck for free. So those guys be charging a bunch of money, and it runs the price up. Well, my thought there was like, well, if we can save money on constructing all the forms and stuff like that, it might be a possibility to do that project, because that would offset the cost of building all the forms, and then we might be able to be like, okay, we need to get a pump truck and the concrete truck out here, and then get all these poured as a and not have like six or seven guys on the job site to like have to like move this over there and hump concrete up and down and all that kind of crap. So I don't know. But we're not buying that house.
Right.
Because there's no schools there.
Darn schools. Why do kids need to learn?
There was legit the perfect spot for. Here's the crazy thing. There was legit the perfect spot for like 100-foot, probably 100 or 120 foot by 40-foot greenhouse.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's the dream. The dream right there.
Which is what we would have built. That's what we would have put there.
Put an avocado tree in there.
I'm not putting an avocado tree in there. Get out of here. All right, guys. Well, that's the end of the show today. We had a bunch of viewers, and they all left because we talked about fish, and then blah, 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 and everybody hit the like button, and we got one super chat today. No new members, so we can't shout out those guys, but we can give a shout out to the Fish Tank Barn. Thank you very much, my buddy. I want to appreciate everybody. I want to express my appreciation for everybody coming out. You didn't have to go anywhere. You just probably were listening on your phone or whatever. So that's the thing. Alyssa is here. If you want to keep Alyssa coming to the show, I don't know. Figure it out. I think you guys get what I'm talking about.
Yeah. And, Rosie says, good to see me alive again. Thanks, Rosie.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's good to be
the only
seen.
person that mentioned it. Yeah. All right. Well, shout out to Rosie for being cool.
Rosie
Everybody
is my
else?
number one best friend. My
Everybody
number
else.
one best fan.
Everybody else, just let it down. Let it down. Yep. 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 Yep.